Welcome to another edition of the Go Nose Podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. Deshaun Watson, 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed. Congratulations. Just well-deserved, extraordinary talent. Cleveland pretty much had to do that. They alienated Baker Mayfield, so they pretty much had to do that. And I think only Cleveland would do that type of deal. Historically, since they've gotten back into the league, they've pretty much ran, they've just had a litany of bad quarterbacks. I don't think Baker Mayfield is a bad quarterback. I just think the scheme that they were trying to run with him, he doesn't fit that scheme. He's more of a air raid type of quarterback. Coming from Oklahoma, that's pretty much the type of offense that they ran, was air raid. And I hate to say that a number one overall pick is going to be a bust, but, it just depends on where he goes, man. If he was going somewhere where there was like a quarterback guru type head coach, I could say his career could be, salvageable, but I don't know. It just depends on where he goes. But congrats to Watson and the Browns. I think, this move, I think it puts them in Super Bowl contention. I mean, they got the receiver from the Cowboys. I can't think. It was Amari Cooper. They got him. I just think this, I think Landry is. I don't know if Jarvis Landry is still on the team, but I think this definitely puts the Browns in the driver's seat now. We got to see if Watson is going to be suspended. In my opinion, he sat out the whole season, so I think it should just be time served and let it be a wash. But, Roger Goodell, he's going to try to make a statement, so we just don't know how that's going to play out. But I'm glad everything worked out for him, man, and I just hope he can continue to, elevate throughout his career. I know he's a Clemson guy. I'm supposed to hate all Clemson guys, but, I don't. Life is bigger than football. And, him, if he would have got indicted on those charges, I mean, that's a life-altering type of thing. So, I'm glad he beat the criminal charges and you can settle with these people civilly and move on with your life. The NFL has just been crazy with the free agency, the last 2 weeks or whatever. Tom Brady comes back. He's trying to recruit Julio Jones to come to Tampa. Juju Smith-Schuster goes to the Chiefs. It's just crazy, man. Khalil Mack goes to the Chargers. Him and Joey Bosa. It's going to be crazy. But, my guys, the 49ers ain't really signed nobody. Not that we really, if you're not getting worse, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So, that's pretty much it. So, that's pretty much it for the NFL stuff. I like to talk about all types of stuff. Florida State, from the stuff I seen it's kind of hard to evaluate spring practice because, when was the last time Florida State had a bad spring? Never. When was the last time we had a spring game and you just like, oh, we're going to suck this year? So it's kind of hard to evaluate the spring. I think, like I said previously, I think it's just a time to just install your stuff, keep your guys healthy, keep your guys in shape, and just, get to the season. I know there's been some stuff going on. One of the receivers got into a car accident, and I don't really get into all that stuff. I'm just more like on the field. I seen something on the internet where DJ Lundy is down to 239. And I've said that many a time. He was playing too heavy. So I think he needs to lose maybe about 10 more pounds, man. Then I think you got something special. Because the guy has instincts. So, and I felt like Steven Dix was decent his freshman year. He's kind of suspect in pass coverage. But, in run support, he's pretty good. So if he can work on his pass coverage, I think he could be good too. Obviously, your starters are going to be Deloach and Bethune, whatever his name is, Tatum, whatever, Bethune. Those are going to be like your starters. You're going to play like that 4-2-5, right? And I just, can you justify putting Brownlee out there? That's what I want to know. I don't know if you can. I'm not a hater. I'm just saying I look at him as more of a box safety. He's got long arms for a guy his size. And I look at him as more like a box safety, the guy that can come up and make tackles. That's one thing I can say about the guy. He's not afraid to come up and make tackles. Just the overall feel of Florida State football, I would say it's probably flatline. I don't think we're up or down right now. I think we're just kind of, just flatline. We're just, we're waiting for something good to happen. We're hoping that nothing bad happens in terms of, a season. I don't feel like we've improved enough to say, hey, we're trending upward. I just feel like we're just kind of like, just straight line. And I hope this season we can actually, make that next step. And, I think you need to be a little bit more creative on offense. I think, you have to figure out what kind of team you are. If that's in terms of offense, you have to figure out what you are on offense. If you're a run team or a passing team, or you're a balanced team. Because I could say last year we were pretty much a running team, but, when we went up against pretty good defenses, the run game was pretty much non-existent, and we didn't have the necessary blocking offensive line talent to overcome that. And I think with some of the additions that we've made, I think that's going to change. I hope it changes. Like I said before, I just feel like those 5 to 10 guys, 5 to 8 guys on the offensive line are the most important people on your football team, because they really can control the whole game. And Florida State has got to find some guys. They got to find 5 to 8 guys that, hey, can play. And I say 5 to 8 because if you have injuries, you got somebody that you can plug in and play. And thank God for Atkins. Where would we be without Alex Atkins, man? Bringing in that offensive line haul that he brought in. I just hope we can utilize his recruiting talents for every position. Offense or defense, I don't care. I mean, I want to talk about special teams, but man, we suspect, man. All the way around. I mean, Florida State. I mean, I can remember, when we were winning 10 games a year and this fan base was just up in arms. Well, look at us now. We're winning 5 games, 3 games. I mean, we're very mediocre. We're a mediocre football program right now. And I think Norvell is the guy to turn it around. You just got to give him time. Seems like a very smart, very organized type of guy. I would just like to know what is his offensive philosophy, because I don't watch a whole bunch of Norvell stuff, like his coaching show or whatever. But from the best of my knowledge, I don't think I've ever heard him say like what type of offense he runs. Now, I'm pretty sure he said it. I've just never heard it. I mean, but just from what I can see, he likes to run the football. And that's cool if you got the horses up front, but we currently don't. So, we got a long way to go. And, hopefully we can get these guys in the weight room and get them strong so we can move some people and score points. That's that's the name of the game in football, scoring points. And football is just like a microcosm of life. Like, you need certain things to survive in this thing we call life. And you need certain things to survive in football. And for the life of me, I'm just trying to figure out, is Florida State University all in on the football team? Because it just doesn't feel like they are right now. It's just like, let's just go through the motions pretty much. That's what I feel like the university is doing, just going through the motions. They're not trying to, in my opinion now, this is just my opinion. I don't have any inside track to Florida State. I'm just saying from what I see from the outside looking in. Now, I'm pretty sure other Florida State football YouTubers on that and podcasters, they got inside knowledge. But just from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like the university is fully committed to Florida State football. So, we'll just have to, see what happens this season, man. I mean, I know he had gotten some approval for additional support staff, and hopefully he can utilize that staff and get some more wins. And that's really what it comes down to at Florida State. Are you fully committed to the off-the-field things that you need to be a successful football program? And that is what has really plagued this football program for the last, 6-7 years. You're trying to win on the cheap, and you just can't do that now. It's a different time. It's not 2013. You won that national championship on the cheap. Okay? And I think you can really thank Nick Saban for that. I mean, he kind of brought college football. I mean, it's always been a big money sport and it's always been like heavy investing, but I think he made it more mainstream to where here's the model of how you do it. Because when I was coming up, the SEC wasn't that big like it is now. It was Florida State that was really running the show. I mean, Miami, Florida, everything came through the state of Florida. And then once the tide, no pun intended, really turned when Nick Saban went to Alabama. And that's what really changed the landscape of college football. When Pete Carroll was at USC, he had his little run. But USC wasn't as invested as Alabama is. Their boosters are like, okay, we're all in. We're gonna spend whatever it takes to get to where we want to be. And I wish Florida State could get like that. I know we don't have big money like Alabama. But I just wish that we did have big money like Alabama and we could get those tremendous recruits. I mean, every year Alabama recruits an offensive line. They go out and get 5 offensive linemen every year. And then you wonder why they're successful, because they're recruiting an offensive line every year. They let those guys sit for a year or two, and then they come in as redshirt sophomores and they're dominating because they're 2 years in the weightlifting program. They're 2 years into the nutritional program. They're 2 years into learning the offense. And then when they get on the field, they just literally hit the ground running. And it's just seamless. And they do that same thing at every position, with the exception of maybe quarterback and some of the other skill positions. I mean, the skill positions, they pretty much just plug and play. Because, I mean, if you can protect, you don't have to be a redshirt sophomore, junior to get open. You just got to have some talent and ability. And, Florida State, as long as I've been following them, they've never had like 5 great guys across the board. You've had your Walter Jones, your Trey Thomas, Cam Irving, Rodney Hudson types. But it's never been like, okay, we got 5 really good guys. So I just wish that we could get to that point, man, where we got year in and year out, we're recruiting 5 offensive linemen that could start as true freshmen. Alabama goes out and recruit guys that could start as true freshmen every year, but they redshirt them. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, the offensive line, to me, those 5 to 10 guys are the most important players on your football team, because they really can dictate your season, the game within the game. And for Florida State to get back to being relevant, that's what they have to master. They have to master the art of getting those 5 guys to one, recruit them, 1, to be in a position to develop them, and then ultimately get them on the field and be successful. So, with that being said, I do this podcast because I love football, one. I do this podcast because I'm a diehard Florida State fan, two. I'm not doing this to try to be anything other than just that. And it's just, anytime you try to do something that you love, you're always going to have haters. You're always going to have naysayers. You're always going to have negative people in general. I don't listen to that. So, I have various individuals that for some reason like to send me emails and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not in Tallahassee. Whatever. I don't have to be in Tallahassee to have an opinion. Okay? I'm a fan. I said at the beginning of my little spiel at the beginning of my podcast, not a journalist, not a reporter, not an insider, and really no affiliation with Florida State whatsoever. I'm just a guy with an opinion. So, get a hobby. Do something positive. Stop being negative. Get the hatred out your heart, man. And just live long and prosper. That's what I hope for you. Live long and prosper. The podcast is available everywhere. It's available on YouTube. And as always, thank you for your support.